Christmas is almost here, and that means that it's time for Dump Truck Doug's top 20 players of 2024. Now, my goal with this list is not to predict anything that HLTV is going to do. I'm going to be using their sort of, they've got a whole thing set up on their site where you can predict what you think it's going to be, and you can get awesome and epic prizes if you do it well. I'm not really focused on trying to predict it. This is just my top 20. I've been doing some research. I've been trying to overcome my recency bias, especially with the Shanghai Major and how dominant Donk was and all the teams that made it and all the teams that didn't make it. I've been trying to go back in time in my mind to be able to think about where I was when these other teams won, and you know, who actually won tournaments this year, who didn't win that many, and where does that make them place on the top 20? Before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to a few players who I had considered for the top 20, but just couldn't make the cut, and that is Mazinho. Mazinho almost just a personal favorite. Next is Mezzi. Mezzi, I think, plays some harder spots on Vitality, and I think the numbers don't tell the full story. I think Mezzi does a lot for Vitality. Naf. Liquid just didn't have enough success, and Naf didn't have a godlike year like some other players on this list did, but I think he was pretty close. Torji, I've seen a lot of people's lists. They have Torji on there. Torji is a decent opper. I think that he is kind of the X factor for Maus, and he's not always there. Maus only won one tournament this year, and I think that had Torji been a better opper, they would have won a few more. I am obviously a part of the rifle troop of Navi. They won a lot this year, and he did get an MVP at IEM Rio, but I don't think the rest of the year made up for that. The majors, he had a 0.93 rating at both the majors, and that's pretty bad. Rops had the opposite year. He played better at the majors with a 1.11 rating and a 1.07 rating across the whole year. So they made a lot of finals, and that's why I actually considered Rops to be in here. And you know, if you take a look at my list, you might think that I'm overrating FaZe, but I think they were consistently making hard runs into these tournaments. Next is Zontix. I think Zontix is in a weird spot because he doesn't always have to perform, and then when he wants to perform, he kind of gets in his own head, and he kind of has to be the guy who does the losers interviews. You know, I think Donk just sucks up all the kills, and if Donk was actually a little bit worse, Zontix would probably be a little bit better and have made it onto the top 1. And last but not least, Nerds. I don't think Heroic did enough to actually really impress me. I think that they're an okay team. I don't know. I think the players individually are great, and I think that each of these players could be on like a top 3 team. Together, I don't think it's working amazingly. Now we're going to get into the weeds, down and dirty. We're going to get into the top 20. The first player on my list is none other than Monkbold Azbayar, otherwise known as Senzu. This was his, kind of his rookie year. I think he had a great showing. I think he was the best player on the Mongols this year. He did pretty well at the majors, especially in the opening stage of Shanghai. I think he's a big reason as far as why Asia is getting some more eyes. I don't think we've had a good Asian team like this since 100 Thieves with the Australian lineup. There were probably some players in my honorable mentions who could have gotten into this list, but I think that Mongols deserved a player in the top 20. So we're going to go ahead and throw him in there. The top 20 is more than just the players who played the best individually in that year. I think the actual performances of the teams matters a lot. This is an everlasting list. I think having a player from the Mongols is important. They had a great year. They won that Yala Compass event, and I think they deserve somebody. But let's reveal the next player on the list, and that is Russell Van Dolken, otherwise known as Twist. 1.09 rating. That's a rating actually lower than Senzu. His impact rating is a lot lower. I think it's really impressive the things Twist can do in the game, the impactful rounds he has while he's calling this team. Now, is Twist calling a tier 1 top 5 team? No. Are they getting pretty close? I think so. Is this roster going to be that top 5 team? We'll have to see when the shuffles start happening. But Twist only took over this roster in the later half of the year. The roster with Cadian didn't really achieve a lot, but Twist was still playing pretty well, and he starts IGLing, and the team starts actually doing better. So I'm going to go ahead and place Twist in the 19th spot. Next, we have quesado. 1.11 rating. Furia had not a great year. Furia's had a not great couple of years. I Am Rio, yeah, they made it to the stage there, and he had a great rating. Just look at these events. Beboom Dacha, who cares? Cologne, that's pretty rough. But he had a pretty good performance. I think quesado is the best player on Furia. I think quesado is still the best Brazilian player. I wish he would do something else, a different Brazilian project, go international. But that is why quesado is going to be my 18th player. Next, we have Flames. Flames is kind of an all or nothing player in my perspective. I think he plays some hard roles. He either does a lot in the game or Zywoo just does everything with Spinx and he doesn't get a chance. Sometimes it looks like he's having a bad game. Vitality just didn't have a great year for me. They won Cologne, but that wasn't enough. I think Flames, with these stats, if Vitality won one more, maybe 2 more tournaments, he could have been a top 10 player. Let's go ahead and throw Flames. Next we have Jimmy. Let's take a look at his events. A lot of green. Blast World Finals, they didn't play great. Pro League didn't have a great Pro League either. They got knocked out, which is interesting because the previous Pro League they actually won. See, Jimmy didn't really do a lot to actually win Mao's any tournaments, but he plays super well. I think Jimmy's about to have a standout year in 2025, and he is going to win multiple titles. Jimmy. Next, we have Spinx. Same sort of vibes I'm getting from Flames. Spinx could be rated higher, but I think that due to the fact that Vitality didn't have a great major at either of the majors, they bombed out of Cato, they only won Cologne. I think that Vitality kind of disappointed in 2024, especially with the amazing 2023 they had. Spinx is going to go into my 15th spot. Next, we have Wonderful. You're going to see a lot of Na'Vi players on this list just because Na'Vi was the best team this year, 100%. Spirit was pretty close. Wonderful didn't manage to get any MVPs, and he had a rough time in a lot of the grand finals, but he was a reason that Na'Vi was able to get to a lot of those grand finals. I mean, Na'Vi just as a team was outclassing a lot of the other opponents. Wonderful on the op was not the reason they won, but he was impactful and he did his job. So that's why Wonderful will be going in the 14th spot. Next we have Elige. Complexity didn't do jack shit. Did they do anything cool? They won Yonkaping. Okay. They won Yonkaping. Pro League, they got 3rd, 4th. But I mean, just look at these ratings. Got a few 1.33s, 1.1, 1.41. That's a play-in. But the guy is just a godlike rifler. When I first was putting this list together, I'm like, Elige didn't win anything. Elige didn't really do anything. Why would I put him in here? But just looking at his ratings, I think he deserves it. That's why we're putting Elige in there. I don't know where Elige is going to go. I don't know if Complexity is going to try and build a new team. I don't know if Elige is going to fucking Falcons, fucking G2, Vitality. This shuffle is going to be crazy. We're going to be seeing a lot of different players bouncing around, and I think Elige is one to watch. Next, we have Zantas. Similar sort of thing. Eternal Fire was definitely better than Complexity was. Zantas is just a godlike. Is he wearing like makeup in his picture? What? I think he just played like a god. They nearly won. What was it? Pro League. They nearly won Pro League 20. They choked it, I think. That was rough to watch for them. They had a good major. I think Zantaras, look, some of these ratings are absolutely insane. So we are going to put my boy Zantaras in the 12th spot. Next up, we got Mario Mobs. Guy came through into G2 when they needed it most. I think Mobs is the reason they're doing better. It's not Snacks. If they had kept Hooksy, G2 could have been the best team of the year. Mobs was playing insane. He was playing better on M80, but he actually won some tournaments with G2. So who cares? This is a team where you have two, I'm not going to spoil it, but two very good players on the team, and he's still dropping ratings like this. I'm surprised I didn't put him in the top 10, honestly. Next up, we've got Zershin. He had some incredible performances. Again, Mouse was kind of disappointing as Vitality was. They came into the year. I was kind of hyped on them, but I think Exertion does a lot. Let's look at this entering potential, the opening potential. He does a lot to get Mouse into these rounds, and I think that they just didn't play off him as well as they could have. Exertion, number 10, top 10. We're in the top 10 now, boys. Next, we have Broky. Why is Broky here? That's a good question. And I'll answer that with, I like him, and he got the MVP at Chengdu. He kind of fell off a little bit at the end of the year. FaZe did kind of as a whole, but I think Broky is an awesome player. I think he does more than these numbers tell you. I think he got a fucking MVP at an IEM, and I think that means a lot to me. So I'm going to put him in the number 9 spot. Next, we have Frozen right next to his teammate in the top 20. Frozen played even better. Frozen was a big piece of why FaZe had any success at all. Rain really wasn't there. The roles aren't quite as good as the lineup that they had with Twist, but I think Frozen came into this team and delivered. I think he definitely delivered. The team didn't, but Frozen did, and I think he deserves the number 8 spot. Next, we have Bit. One of the players who did not do very well at the majors. He did not play well at the major they won. He did not play well when they weren't able to make it to the playoffs, but the rest of the year played super well. He did get himself an MVP at ESWC. Again, not an S tier event, but I think it still counts towards something, and these numbers are really solid. Why did it say a 1.12 rating is just okay? Like, that's really good, right? Show player average. Since when is a 1.12 rating average? I don't know. Maybe it's because it's top 20 filtering. That is why I'm putting Bit into my 7th position. Next, we got Shirou. The big discussion here was kind of this top 6, I'd say. Shirou, insane player. I just think that he was not the reason that Spirit won anything. I think Shirou played really well in a lot of the matches they won. Didn't really deliver in the major final. Again, recency bias has a lot to do with this. If you win the last major, that's gonna probably do a lot more for you in the top 20 compared to winning the first major. Clearly, just based off these stats, deserves to be up here, but I don't think he delivered in points that really mattered. So that's why I'm putting Shirou only in the 6th. Didn't make the top 10. Maybe next year, buddy. Next, we have JL. 1.12 rating, major fucking MVP. I remember there's a video, if you go back, where I'm talking about the rumors of Alexi B going to Navi, and I'm like, why is this happening? And then I hear JL. Emma kind of made sense that they were going to pick up just because he had an insane Paris, and I was expecting him to get picked up into a pretty solid team. But JL was on Apex, and, you know, they made the playoffs, but like Navi? Navi's where he's going to go, and he deserved it so much. He's got 2 MVPs this year. He got a major MVP and a Pro League MVP, and he had some insane plays. He can make shit happen when they need it to happen, and that's why he deserves to be in the top 5, okay? JL, top 5. Let's go. Next, we have NiKo. NiKo, that's right. NiKo, I was about to say he's the best rifler of the year, but he was the best rifler as far as like the people who aren't godlike, like literally have god powers in their body when it comes to playing Counter-Strike. NiKo is a hard worker. I wish he got his major so bad. I really wish he would stay on G2, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. He's entering the later era of his career. He's going on a team that we might see him on for the rest of his career. We might see him transition into an IGL on this team. I think he should stay. I think he needs to stay. I think NiKo has found a home at G2, and I don't see a reason for him to leave. I just want to see him and m0NESY playing together and winning a major. But as far as his performance this year, what is there to say? I mean, the guy can do anything with the rifle, and he is such an impactful player. And I don't think you can find a better rifler other than the one little freaking twerp that won the major. So NiKo is number 4. All right, here's the big 3. This has been the biggest discussion. What are the placements? Who's gonna get number 1? Number 3, it is Zywoo. Zywoo, individually, probably the best player of the year. He's just insane, but he didn't win shit, dude. He won Cologne. They bombed out of Kato. Didn't really do well at the majors, and that means something to me. The performance he had, he definitely deserves to be up here. These 3 players are literally just like such ahead of any other player. Zywoo individually, just his rating wise, he's like the best player, but didn't win enough to be number 1 for me, which should be fine, dude. He's had plenty of number 1s already, okay? So let's put him in the number 3 spot. Okay, here we go. Here are the last 2 players. Who are they going to be? We're going to reveal both of them at the same time. Let's get a big drum roll, please. Donk is your number 1. m0NESY is your number 2. Is this all recency bias? It might be. Let's check out Mongraal first. I mean, rating wise, you can see him a bit below Zywoo, but I think the kid is just the reason G2 won so many tournaments. The fact he was able to carry G2 into Dallas with fucking Stewie 2K and Nexa and Hunter all playing on the same team is just unreal. I think he is the best opper in the game right now. I think he's only 19 and that he is about to have an insane career. I really hope he gets his #1 sometime soon, and I really hope he gets a major sometime sooner. Donk, dude. How did this kid come in his first year on the game and have the most impressive rookie year? Maybe not the best. I think Zywoo still might have the best, but the fact that he's doing it with a rifle and the fact that he is just taking over the game in this brand new game, he just said, oh yeah, everyone's having trouble with this new game. I'm just going to be the best. I'm just going to be the best at it. And he did. He had maybe the least impressive 1v5 that we've ever seen in a major. Like, I can't even imagine playing against this kid. He has so much impact with the AK. You don't see that level of impact with any other gun than the op. And he's doing it with a rifle, and he's just holding W at you, and there's nothing you can do. There's a reason that he won #1. He was in the running in the top 3, and that major MVP just put him above. Put him above both the players. Neither of them won a major. Neither of them were in a major final. And there's a reason Donk is your #1 player of 2024. Round of applause for the 17-year-old Donk. Oh my God. So let's go ahead and put Mongraal right in here and the kid himself, Donk. Tell me what I got wrong. Tell me who you think deserves to be on here. Tell me what rankings you think are ridiculous. I know I'm going to get some flack for this broky rating, but the Chengdu MVP did something for me. I don't know. Broky did something for me this year. It's my top 20. Make your own. Make your own video. Go and make your own video. It'll probably be better than mine.